financial freeway. My name is David J. Atwood. I'm the man rocking the Ray-Bans. Oh, a little bit of a hike to get to the car today. A little bit bogged down. Just got a little bit late showing up for getting out and ending the day, and now I'm behind the slowest drivers in the world. So looks like I'm gonna be possibly, I'm gonna get the next lane here, possibly a little bit slower. And the thing is, I got to get ahead of the traffic, because traffic just doesn't seem to be getting better. And it's the same with, you know, on that note, it's like the cost of houses in the cost of real estate, period. It's not getting cheaper to own a house in this town. It's definitely not. The prices are going down right now. Like right now, the market's, you know, slowing down a little bit with regards to the price of owning a house, but it's still out there. And when you think your minimum down payment for some of these houses is upwards of, you know, $30,000-$40,000, it's a lot. And it's not getting cheaper, so you want to get in as quickly as possible. Anyways, much like trying to get ahead of traffic. Traffic isn't getting lighter these days. It just seems to be getting worse and worse with every passing year. So let's go. So it's important to stay on top of trying to get ahead of everything all the time. Well, it's just insane. Anyways, about the housing, just really quickly, I have been going through trying to figure out an algorithm, because somebody was up my roof the other day and said, hey, you should really have your chimney repointed. And I was like, huh, repointed? I never even thought to have my room chimney repointed. I didn't know that was a thing. And then I went through and I actually created a list of all the things that you're supposed to be doing in order to maintain a house. And I put it through under a schedule, because some things you do once every 25 years, such as repointing a chimney, or replacing a roof, or, you know, redoing your perimeter drain, or, you know, redoing your sewer connector. These are things you do once a quarter of a century. But, you know, if you bought your house and your house was built in the 80s, you're already at a quarter century, you know, 5 years into 2005, it's a quarter century. So I started putting it together as to what the cost is to take care of all that stuff. And if you bought a house today with 20% down and you made all the payments to make sure you did everything right. I haven't even gotten into childcare or how much it costs to take care of a pet or pet health insurance. I just did two people with 2 kids living in a 3-bedroom house in Victoria, what it would cost. And I did not include the cost of the kids at all. And we ended up at, it was like, what was it? It ended up being like $4,500 each to live in this town. In order for that to happen, you got to be making $91,000 a year, which means you have to make about $44-$45 a paycheck, an hour. So it is crazy how expensive it is, and it's not getting cheaper. And that's kind of my point with putting together that spreadsheet, was I just wanted to kind of get an overall view of what it actually costs. You know, if you did everything you're supposed to, like if you had your oil change, 4 times a year, if you had your tires changed every 100,000 kilometers, if you know, and at 100,000 you had your big tune-up on your car. When I started breaking all that stuff down and getting to a real, it's just almost impossible to be able to afford that, like a working class family. So I was quite shocked by it. So it really pointed out a couple things. Number one, we really can't do everything. We can't do it all. It is just simply impossible to do everything that needs to be done. There you go. Go through the intersection. There you then we put our blinkers on. Yeah, there we go. I'll just get ahead of you. That'll be fine. You can't do it all. And so what you have to do is you have to figure out what you can do for priority, what you can do to make things get through. You have to prioritize things. That's the first thing I learned. The second thing I learned was you got to make money. You have to be really hustling. And in this town, without a partner, you need a partner. You really need a partner to split the costs. But you got to find some ways to make extra money. So I started thinking about different ways to do that. Well, one is having a side gig, that brings in some cash, whatever you can do. If there's something you can do from your phone or your computer, all the better. Skip the dishes is a great one, but again, that's trading time for money, so it's kind of a tricky one, but still skip the dishes is something to do. Another thing that is really great is doing Airbnb. Having an Airbnb, and you could do just your room too, right? It doesn't have to be a whole house. You can actually just Airbnb a bedroom, and a lot of people do that. And if you Airbnb a room and you do the math on this, at $75 a night, you're making, what is it, $750 every 10 nights. So 1,500 plus 2019, so about $2,000 a month basically is what you're making from renting one room, if it's occupied 100%. Now, of course, it's never going to be that. Most people are hovering around at 80 or 70%, but still, you can see it's going to bring enough money to take off some of the edge there. Of course, cook your own meals. Me and Gabby make everything from scratch, everything. There's very little that we buy. In fact, when I do go out and buy something like a pizza or get some takeout, she's really upset by that. She doesn't like that food. That has saved us a lot of money, and we've had to because of how crazy expensive everything has gotten over the last couple of years, or since COVID, I should say. So it's really important to find ways to cut the costs as much as you can, save money any way possible, and of course make money. I guess my thing has always been, I've never been too concerned about the money leaving the account, because you're never going to be able to stop all the money from going out. So I've really tried to make my focus be the get the water into the tub versus worrying about the drain or the leaks. You want to plug up the leaks as best you can, but I really like the concept of, instead of doing that, think about how much more money you can make. Always think about bringing more money in somehow, anyhow, and even if it's like $50 a month, $100 a month, whatever the case is, figure out a way to do that. You gotta hustle. There is no way around it. I was talking to my daughter a couple of nights ago, and she was pretty upset about some things that were going on in her life and some changes that have to be done. But the more I talk to her and I try not to be too dad-like, when I'm explaining how things work with regards to money and life, because she's an adult and she can make her own decisions on a lot of these things. But it really comes down to understanding, number one, have faith in yourself. Have faith that you can actually do it. A lot of people panic because they don't believe in themselves. They don't have the belief that they can actually pull it off. When the reality is that we all have it within us. Very, very, very few of us don't have the ability to get through the tough times. Very few of us don't have what it takes. Most of us, I would say a good 95% of the world, has exactly all the tools needed to succeed and be successful. But we have to get to that point where we have to change our mindset about how things work and how the world works and how it operates. Because so many people believe that you have to have an extra $5 an hour is going to make all the difference in the world, and the reality is it doesn't. It really doesn't. You have to start thinking bigger about projects, about business, about equity, about ownership, in order to get to the next level. simply just doing going for that extra $1 an hour raise does not make a difference of things at all. So it's important to have that different mindset, to keep it in your head. So all I can say is it's tough out there. It's not easy. And, it's funny. A lot of people think, because I got my start a little bit earlier, that it was, easier for me. And the reality was, when I was talking to my daughter the other night, I was saying to her, like, I was exactly where you were when I was 30 years old. I was struggling. I was broke. I was hungry. I remember all of that stuff. I remember how icky it all was, and how much of a stress it was for me. And I had babies too, right? And that was the thing, like having babies at home and other people to feed and house and take care of that way. It was a lot of stress. So I think we're all there. We were there if we're not there right now, but it's tough, and it takes a little bit of getting up and going, okay, I can do this. I can make this work. What's the next step I have to do? What's the next problem I have to solve? These are things we can all do. I think really the most important thing is to have a vision of where you want to be. And if you don't know where you want to be, then you're never going to get there. Or you're there already. I don't know how to actually say that. But if you don't know what you want out of life, you're never going to get anywhere. You're not going to get what you want if you're sitting there going, I don't know. You have to make decisions. You have to have a clear vision in your mind of what you want and start moving towards it. It's the only way to get anywhere in life and to get to a place of happiness and satisfaction. You're not going to be satisfied no matter what if you don't know what you want. Anyways, folks, wherever you are. Oh, before I say that, make sure you hit the subscribe button. If you're watching me on YouTube, subscribe. Just massage that subscribe button until it goes click and you hit subscribe, or hit the thumbs up button. That's another one too. You just hit the like button and let us know that you really like what you're hearing here. Another thing to do is to go to Financial Freeway. That's where all the really good stuff is. That's where the really, really good stuff is. All the archival information that we've been putting there. I should be updating the book list because I've been reading a new book recently called Thinking Fast and Slow, and it is a great book. There's a lot of really cool books I've been reading lately that I want to put onto the list for everybody. But check out Financial Freeway 23.ca, because that's where all the good stuff is. And finally, spread the word. Spread the word. Tell people what we're talking about here. Talk about the financing. Talk about the investing. Talk about the saving, getting into property, getting into equity, anyhow you can. And, let the world know that everyone has the inalienable right to live a life of happiness, success, and abundance, wherever you are in this beautiful world today.